Today we're with Dianes Banks, Manager of Children's Services at Toronto Public Library, and we're in the Kids Stop at the North York Central Library. Diane, before we jump into the conversation about the library and the pandemic, I'd like to take a moment to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell me, why did you choose to be a children's librarian, and how long have you been with Toronto Public Library as the head of Children's Services?
So I didn't think I would end up as a librarian or a children's librarian. I really wanted to be a teacher. And I'm a little bit surprised I never thought about the library, because I was a huge library user. I volunteered at the library in high school. And when I came to Toronto, I volunteered in the Leading to Reading program, which TPL still has. And it pairs kids and volunteers together to help support their reading skills. So I had all these great experiences. And then one day it was kind of an aha, I could do this as a job. And I first started at TPL as a children's librarian. Loved it. It was so rewarding. I think the best part about working with kids and families is you get to be part of their childhood. You're there for reading, you're there for learning, and you get all the hugs and high fives and smiles, and that's amazing. I've been doing my job now as manager of children's services for about 4 or 5 months. And I think really my role is to empower our staff and to work with our community stakeholders and kids and families to really implement services that really help them fulfill their goals as readers and learners and as active and engaged members of our community. So I think part of that role means always pushing to do better, striving to improve our access and our inclusion, really making sure that the library is a safe and welcoming space for every kid and every family, and really working with our staff to empower them, because they're the ones who they really bring this to life, right? They make our kids happy and confident and successful.
Absolutely, yeah, no, it's, and you talked about being in this role for 4 to 5 months, which means you pretty much started at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes.
And while the pandemic has, nobody has been spared by it, children in some ways have been exceptionally impacted by it. So can you give us some understanding of how the library has responded to continue to support children in Toronto?
So obviously the pandemic's hit all of us hard, as you mentioned, kids and families in particular. Our branches are destinations, or safe places for kids and families to be together. And adding on to that, the fact that we were closed, now you have parents and caregivers at home trying to support their child's learning remotely. So very challenging. Lucky for TPL, we have lots of great digital services for kids that we could promote quickly. We have things like Brain Fuse, which is a free service that your library card gives you access to, where you get curriculum support, you get tutoring online. That's spiked like crazy since we've been closed, as well as things like our ebooks and e-audiobook collections for kids. Again, I think I checked the June stats, it was like 175% increase over last year. So those kinds of services, we've been able to position ourselves well and help them right away. So our programs for children is such a huge multi-branch affair regularly. We had to pivot from that experience to an online experience, and we spent some time just trying to figure out what that would look like. We were really successful in developing the programs that we do in person online. And we were able to do programs like our Ready for Reading story times, which really build those early literacy skills that kids need to be ready for school at home. And we're still able to talk to the parent and caregiver on the screen and give them some tips and ideas of how to do that. Another program that we launched online was Fun with STEM, all kinds of great STEM-related and critical thinking projects that kids could do at home, and of course relates to what they're learning at school and the curriculum. And also had a huge array of Pride programs as well online. We had an author visit and some story times, but my personal favorite is the puppet show Worm Loves Worm. Everybody needs to check that out.
I hadn't heard about that. It sounds adorable. And what you're speaking to is the role that the library plays for kids and families throughout the year. Now in summertime, there are some specific programs that the library launches to keep kids involved in reading, so there isn't the summer slide and they lose their literacy over the few months. Can you talk to me a little bit about those programs and how you had to bring them to life during the pandemic with the branches closed?
All of our programs are now online, as you mentioned, and for Summer Wonder, which is TPL's summer learning initiative, we bring learning to life in a fun way with our programs and our interactive stuff in our spaces, places like Northwark Central, filled with kids looking for learning opportunities that are fun in the summer. And a huge component of that is the TD Summer Reading Club, which is Canada's biggest bilingual reading club for kids of all abilities and all ages. And both of those have shifted online. So typically what you would see would be kids coming into the library in the summer, getting their print notebook, talking to the staff about the books that they've read. And now what they're doing is they're doing that online. So at tdsummerreadingclub.ca, kids can register for a free online notebook. That website has tons of fun jokes and riddles and kind of story starters for them. They've done online programs. They have done a new initiative this year called Battle of the Books. So there's something for everyone to keep them excited about reading all summer long, and as you mentioned, help prevent the summer slide. With Summer Wonder, we've taken a similar approach. All of our programs are moving online. Programs like our Mini Makers workshops and our STEM-related programs are all going there. And one of our best and most exciting Summer Wonder programs is our Wonder Workshop. So those workshops are designed around a problem, and kids as teams come together to solve those. They learn about design thinking. They learn how to approach a problem with lots of different skills and abilities there together, and they kind of prototype something, build it, test it out, and then tell others about what they made. So that's moved online as well. We've got French programs and also a lot of author and illustrator programs. So it's kind of like the summer experience in the branch at home.
At home. That's brilliant. Yeah, that is brilliant. Are you hearing directly from any of the children or families on how they're engaging with the new online experience and what it means to them right now?
So we hear a lot that they miss us and they want to come back and they're excited to come back and be in our space. In terms of the programming, one of the most popular programs we've had is our magic workshop. Kids got to learn from a real live magician about tricks and deceiving others, and that went super well. And one of the comments we had from a parent after was that her child was waiting for 2 days for this program. Like, Mom, when is this program going to be ready? So I think some of the appeal of the online program experience is that it's ready when you're ready, and you don't have to travel throughout the city to get there. It could just be in your home for your kids when they're interested and ready for that program. One of my favorite stories has been about a mom looking for bookmarks. So when we closed our branches, kids couldn't get their hands on our bookmarks that each year we have a contest around. Kids design a bookmark, and if you win, your design goes in all the bookmarks in our branches. Very popular and fun. And this mom said that her daughter was playing library at home. They had even created like a little library card scanner with a toilet paper tube, and I don't even want to get into like what they did with the toilet paper because we're in a pandemic, but they had this toilet paper tube and they were scanning the books and they had the bookmarks, and they disintegrated because she was playing with this so much. So is there any way, the mom writes, that we can get our hands on the bookmarks? And they couldn't go into their local branch. We were able to mail them some bookmarks, and the mom said the daughter was so pleased. And how can we not help that child? I mean, it's a lovely story, but also librarian in training. So yeah, so the stories like that are really meaningful and nice to get back.
They're really heartfelt, right? And I know the commitment to community is in the DNA of librarians, and so those one-on-one experiences really buoy everyone up, in particular at a time where you're missing that contact, right? That day-to-day contact that librarians really feed off of. So it sounds like even with the branches closed, the library continued to be a really important community partner for so many families across the city. Were there programs that were new to TPL to help address any issues in Toronto during the pandemic?
So one of the things we couldn't do with our branches closed is provide print books to kids. And we were concerned about that, especially for kids who are particularly vulnerable. Having access to those materials is really important. And with schools closed and our branches closed, we were able to find an opportunity to do just that with our food banks that popped up in our branches. So we were able to give away brand new quality kids books to food bank clients. They got one in their hamper. And we also did the same with some youth books as well. And just a lovely surprise for them. For many of them, that's such a challenging experience. And they're now at a location that's not familiar to them with a whole different process. And to get that surprise was really amazing. As a result, we gave away around 3,500 books. And that's thanks to our donors and thanks to our staff that we were able to do that together. And we were also able to give around 700 books to family shelters and sites that support asylum seekers. So really making sure that those books are in the hands of kids that need it most.
It's such a beautiful story, and it's another example of how the library really galvanizes support first from its staff, but then also from its community members. It was a beautiful opportunity that we were able to bring to Penguin Random House Canada as well as Scholastic to help support the purchase of and the donation of net new books for those kids. It was a win for everybody. And again, it's such a privilege to be part of the Toronto Public Library family and be part of serving the Torontonians who, particularly in those cases, are really so deserving of that support. So taking that and looking forward, what do you miss most during this time? And what are you most looking forward to when we start to be able to welcome people back?
I miss the buzz of people together, and whether that's my colleagues, whether that's customers engaged together, kids in a program, it's that buzz and excitement of people being together and enjoying their passions together that is so rewarding about working for the library. And I'm really excited to come back and see kids in our spaces playing with these brilliant interactives and meeting each other and learning together. And I think that's the piece we can't quite figure out how to recreate online yet, but it's the piece that is so vital to creating a community of really active people who care about their city and they care about making a difference together. So I can't wait.
I do know the library puts a lot of time and effort into listening to its customers and taking that feedback to be able to evolve programs. So I expect that that's what the library is doing right now. And there may be maybe some really cool programming that is launched that is only because of the insights that we've come out of with the pandemic. So I look forward to it too. And it is a thrill to be part of an institution that is really making a difference in the kids today, and that means the future of our city tomorrow. Thank you, Diane. It's been wonderful chatting with you, and I really appreciate you making time to talk with me over the curious conversations and help answer some of the questions that I know our donors and our library lovers have.